Oh, now you done it.
Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, fighting from the booth. They'll fight for the real story, wherever it's hidden away. Overwatch and the Guardian are there every day. It's Overwatch and the Guardian against the narrative. The enemy fighting to save the day. They never give up, they're always there, forcing the normies to take red pills every day. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian is the code name for the team that won't quit. Its purpose to force the normies to swallow the red pill against the narrative. A ruthless force determined to keep everyone asleep. They broadcast the truth on Rumble, on clouds dropping red pills every week. Overwatch and the Guardian, the narrative is weak.
We can't let it end like this.
It's too late.
Defenders of the Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian.
Jesus, bro. Oh, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. How are you? That's a lot better now.
Yes. Oh, so
Oh,
I know we have a guest coming on here in a little bit. We have to. I'm on mix minus. You're on the Rode soundboard like me, right?
no, I'm just on a standard mic.
Okay, so then maybe we won't need
'Cause
it.
everybody's complaining about the audio differentiation, huh?
No, because of the echo. Once we once we
I
put
will
in
drop off and you can bring him on.
So, but the thing is that if I have mine set to mix minus, and if you're not using the soundboard, then I think we're good, because
Okay.
the issues seem to be coming from the soundboards. So with that, I'll let you. Well, one, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Like it's like I just saw you the other night, man. But and by the way, people don't know, and we can't really say. I'm not gonna divulge too much information, but we got a lot of attention from that last show the other night.
We
There
did.
was some information that was confirmed, or at least confirmed from that show the other night. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. People will be learning about it relatively shortly. We can't.
Yeah, but that's
really-
all that's going to be said now.
That's all
that's
that's gonna be said now. I'm not.
That's
Yeah.
it.
But you can go back and watch DEFCON 0 and hear what we said and maybe try to figure out what we're talking about. But tonight, man, this is an interesting topic we're talking about tonight. Obama's birth certificate. You have Loretta Fuddy. You have Donald Trump. And if anybody doesn't remember this, around 2012, Donald Trump started questioning Barack Obama's birth certificate. And I think that this was part and part Donald Trump, number one, being activated. Number two, Donald Trump getting ready for a presidential run in 2016. But number three, genuine curiosity that he did not believe that Barack Obama was an American-born citizen and was being most likely probably read into certain things during this point in time, to where he had the public voice to go out there and begin scrutinizing and criticizing all of these things. And if people don't remember this, he was on Alex Jones. He was interviewed by O'Reilly. I mean, everything. And it never stopped. It lasted for years. I got some content here we can pull up and look at this. But one of the interesting parts about all this was Loretta Fuddy. We're going to watch this video here in a little bit. because you can clearly see a swimmer in the freaking water that brings her down. The sole person who died in a plane crash that's landed safely. And she was head of Health and Human Services in the state of Hawaii, I believe, and was in charge of the release of Barack Obama's birth certificate, which is kind of interesting. So we're gonna have that little conversation tonight. We're gonna talk a lot about the beginnings pre 2016 Trump, and kind of the mindset, the mentality, what was happening, what was going on in the world, the various different players and actors, Michael Hastings, Andrew Breitbart, Pizzagate scandal, how that came about, WikiLeaks, Snowden, all of this stuff. We're gonna discuss all of that. So this is gonna be a pretty cool show. I hope that you guys hit that like button, share, comment, and definitely follow if you're not. And then right below our names, you're gonna see 2 websites. Make sure you go to the one under Josh first, and then you go to the one under Alpha second. But go ahead and visit our websites and subscribe over there.
With that, I was gonna pull up the that banner for now. Is if you've never, some of you have probably heard of Loretta Fuddy. Some of you have probably heard about the plane crash. The part here that is going to probably shock you is how calm the plane crash is, given the story. Everybody survived. Everybody survived, but her. And when we get into that, it'll be pretty interesting. But before we get to that, I think it's time for our special guests.
Bring them in.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
First,
Good.
anybody have an echo?
I don't have an echo. I'm good.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, somewhere else I heard somebody else was having that problem just randomly because I was paying attention because we had the problem. So somewhere else, but anyhow, yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know you got so much. Oh, and the Barack Obama thing, that's always been one that's really needled me for years. So I'm sure your audience is really glad that that's coming back up again. So, we had a really good talk the other night on your other show. I think there was a point that was made there that I actually had a few comments that come in. I think it was probably because of that show. So I'm going to mention that again right now. And we on that show, we talked a little bit about why large animals can, build so much muscle mass just from eating plant matter. And of course, they have enzymes in this complex digestive system, but they also have a lot of microbes that are breaking down that fiber into protein, amino acids, peptides. The microbiome plays a humongous role in that. And, a lot of people who are on the carnivore diets or who are, really looking at that as being a way to fix their gut health. One thing you got to keep in mind of the humans that live near the Arctic Circle, who were the few humans that really had real carnivore diets, they ate the internals of these animals. And so they were getting a lot of these microbes in the fiber from the digestive system. They were also getting the microbes that were breaking down that material, but they were also getting the metabolites that had already started to be produced in that digestive system. And all that still happens in our gut. So we were both getting microbes, we were getting fiber. And these people that still live in these northern environments who live on these high protein meat diets do that. So it should tell you what's going on in the small intestine or going on along in those animals is largely related to the microbiome. And so obviously with our product, where we have a probiotic, that's one of the things that is clinically shown to do is increase protein utilization. That gives you an understanding of why. And that same microbe, Bacillus coagulans, which survives out in the open and is why it survives through the stomach and the stomach acid, that's also the kinds of microbes that these big animals are getting out of the soil and the things that they're eating and benefiting from that. So if you're on a carnivore diet or you look at the carnivore diet in that way, understand that it's still beneficial to get the fiber into your diet so that you're producing the short chain fatty acids and also getting the microbes that like entering good brew to break down that protein that you're eating, because it needs to be broken down into amino acids and peptides. And on the converse of that, there are people in the world who live almost entirely on vegetarian diets, especially in the South Pacific. They eat a lot of tubers, a lot of potatoes and sweet potatoes. And the reason they're able to do that, we know this, is because they have a microbiome that can break those starches and sugars down into proteins and amino acids. And as we've talked about before on this show, the inulin fiber that's in Good Brew now has been shown to be the kind of fiber that trains the microbiome to be able to break down sugars and produce these amino acids and peptides. So all that leads into a healthy gut lining, the reduction of leaky gut, homeostasis, and then of course to these real practical things that people want to have alleviation from, is these digestive problems like acid reflux and chronic constipation. And when we get, and then all the other things, the inflammation and everything that goes along with the gut being more regular. But immune function, we have a lot of people use our product. A lot of times we get testimonials saying how much less often they get sick. I've heard that quite a bit. We've heard a lot of people talk about their skin health, but on and on and on. And all of these things really our overall health and well-being. I think, we were talking about supplements last time and how if you're doing anything else, supplements or red light therapy or anything else, it's going to work better if you have a healthy microbiome, because the chain of events from like producing the short chain fatty acids, or the microbiome takes tryptophan from the food that we eat, converts it into tryptamine, has to be converted into tryptamine. That's an essential nutrient that then it is like the precursor to serotonin and melatonin and all these other things. So if you think
dimethyltryptamine,
that's exactly right. Now that's an interesting one, and yeah, but it is. I mean, that one of the things with people who are now that are doing the psychedelic therapies and that sort of thing, one of the things they know is that some people don't respond well, and they really connecting that to. There's a whole group of literature coming out now and research on that. The gut needs to be healthy. That serotonin needs to be healthy. That tryptamine needs to be available to benefit from the psychedelic therapies that they're using for PTSD and that sort of thing, which also leads to that thing that we talked about before, Josh, which the military has studied PTSD, and we know that a healthier gut and gut microbiome can help alleviate symptoms of PTSD. But the military also started to make the connection and showed in several research papers that the condition of the gut at the time you experience the trauma may be directly related to whether or not you actually become, have PTSD as a result of that trauma. The serotonin and the balance in the gut, the cortisol levels that are also, it's the serotonin and the cortisol are two big ones. There's other things going on with the endocrine system related to the gut. Directly relates to how we respond, able to manage trauma and stress correctly. So all of these things, mental health, and now gut microbiome has been related directly to dementia. Of course, our daily mood and the gut-brain axis, all the signaling going on back and forth. So we still have. I left the special up for the show the other night for the 4th of July special, and I left it up for tonight. And I'm going to take that down here in the next day or two. I'm getting ready for a folk festival that we're sponsoring. So I'm running back and forth and kind of busy with all that. But we got the 4th of July special with just the large and the free small. And use which discount code are we using tonight? We're using the red pill and the
throw the Guardian out. Throw the Guardian out there. We can do that. That's
Guardians is a new discount code that you can just use for this show directly. It's Guardians plural, right? That's correct?
So they just need to go to goodbrew.com and then put that code in. Guardians,
right? And they get that. And of course, they can always use Alpha or Red Pill as well, but it's really convenient if they use Guardians and start using that for this show. Either all the way around, y'all get sponsored, and we get the benefit of you guys letting us on the show. So it's a mutual thing. I think I was thinking about that the other night about sponsorships. We really, with the big media companies being bought out by pharma marketing, I always think about how everybody views that in this world and day and age, like the sponsor is like driving the media. But when it's small business like this, it's 100% mutual. It's like, it's back and forth. You guys like our product, we like sponsoring you, but we're benefiting just equally by you guys supporting us. You're supporting us just as much. So I was always thinking about that. How things have gotten so turned upside down in this world. These days.
Let me sneak a question in there real quick, Gabe, before you do end up taking off. Antibiotics kind of throw our gut out of whack. Other medications throw our gut out of whack. How important is it for someone who's probably taking antibiotics or taking other medications, stuff like that has their gut all jacked up?
Oh, it's extremely important, and we all kind of have our guts jacked up. If you look at from back in the 1940s when antibiotics started to become very prevalent, there's a book, I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before, but anybody's a reader, pick up the book Missing Microbes. But it really shows that it's not just antibiotics, it's antibiotics, which of course is the one that we all really think about, but it's all of these. Even the proton pump inhibitors that are there to just alleviate the symptoms of acid reflux and GERD, they actually know now that disrupts the microbiome. So it's extremely important. It's just for an adult, they usually, most of the research shows you're looking at 6 months on the minimum to 12 months to really recover from an antibiotic regimen. However, when you look at it from the standpoint of generation after generation, we all have much less diversity in our microbiome. And little kids who are especially especially affected by antibiotic regimens because their gut microbiome still developing. And we could, it's so interesting to talk about how all these things get connected. But some people really get their guts messed up really early in life, or also C-sections. The microbiome doesn't get passed on to the mother, to the child very well. Nursing helps. I mean, when the child nurses, they pick up a lot of the microbiome, but they still have less diversity. And this is shown to be connected to, so closely to so many of the chronic diseases. You can just correlate the lack of diversity in the microbiome to almost every one of these modern plagues. And then the book Missing Microbes, he uses the term plagues. Obesity, diabetes, autism, but all of these things. And it might be more complex than just the microbiome in this one. Maybe all things playing together. The microbiome plays a big role in how Tylenol is broken down, for example.
Well,
there's
also a biome in the soil, and that's one of the biggest major problems of all of this, is that the soil depletion and the reduction of the soil biome is one of the largest contributing factors to the majority of the health problems right now that are happening. And this came about through synthetic chemical additives into our soil, pesticides, herbicides, and growth stimulation therapies that they did the soil, and the demineralization that they try to do with synthetic chemicalization. This kills the biome that actually exists within the soil infrastructure. And when you have foods that are growing in that, people have to understand one thing is foods are constructs of data and information within their DNA in various different foods. They contain the biome receptors in their DNA, in their genetic sequencing. So when you have food that is growing in a farmer's field that doesn't have the right micronutrients, or it doesn't have the right biome within that soil, you're going to have food that comes out incredibly depleted. And that's why a lot of the foods today we find that actually they can call leaching within your own body from your own mineralization in your own body is because of the genetic profiles that are being developed by the lack of that biome in the actual soil. And so one of the things that this does is this helps your gut go out there and get filled up with all the good microbiome that you actually need to process these foods that also help you to digest these foods and to pull the nutrients out of these foods that are actually in there. I always recommend eating organic as much as you can, but organic itself is a fucking scam. For people out there who know what I'm talking about, it's certified organic is nothing more than pay and grow at this process, and therefore you get to put the label on it. Doesn't mean they don't use pesticides or herbicides. It doesn't mean they don't use chemical fertilizers, because they do. But grow your own food and take some good brew, because you're definitely going to notice a difference.
Yeah, and we still have the two. You're absolutely right about all that, Josh. We still have the two largest. We'll keep doing this one for a while with the 250th tumbler. And also keep in mind that those microbes, our ancestors really benefited from not only from eating the natural plants that had the microbes on them and the nutrients in the soil that hadn't been depleted and all of these sorts of things. But keep in mind too, what's really interesting is what's in Good Brew is basically this inulin fiber that you would get from the garlic and the artichokes and fruits and vegetables, in combination with the microbe that you would get from the soil. And that was kind of like Mother Nature's way of providing for us to keep our gut healed and in homeostasis, because the colonizing microbes really don't get through the stomach. We have those from our mothers at birth. But even if somebody got sick, before antibiotics, before anything else, what the main thing the body would do would try to flush that out, diarrhea and et cetera. And in fact, that's what the appendix they think now is for. They're pretty certain about that. It's like a hiding place for your microbes so that they can regenerate. So, what you would do is you'd go out and you'd eat from the soil, and you'd get some spore-forming probiotic that survives out in the stomach, out in the sun and through your stomach, and you'd have some inulin fiber, and you would start to naturally take care of your gut, just like after antibiotics or that sort of thing. And hey, guys, I have one other. This is totally off topic, but it's not off topic for you guys, because all this stuff with UFOs things going on, right? It's crazy. Like, I've always been somebody who's always accepted that alien life forms were not whether or not they were visiting us was always the question, right? But I did want to mention this because I had this great football coach in high school, and when he retired from the Air Force, he was really high in command in Hawaii in the Pacific Theater. In Vietnam, he flew the Phantom, and then he was did a top secret mission. It was like at the top of of top secret stuff going on during his time. And what that was they had these big cameras that they were using to try and do anti-missile, nuclear missile threat, Cold War stuff. And what they do is he was a pilot, so he would fly these guys up at really high altitude, and they would fixate these cameras on really distant small stars, and they were learning how to train the cameras to be able to follow a small object, right, like a missile or whatever. But anyhow, I had him also for aviation science in high school. The only point I was just going to make, this guy's very credible. He's passed away now. 20 years in the Air Force, and he was a huge believer in UFOs and alien life. I mean, and he actually made that a part of our aviation science courses. He had all these books and stuff. He's like, you guys need to go read this, read all this stuff. And some of my friends who he talked to, they would. I never really he would have talked. I was very close to the man, but I never talked to him about that subject. I guess I should have, but I do know some of my friends did spend time talking to him about it. So anyhow, he's just a guy who did real top secret stuff in the Air Force and was a huge believer in the UFO thing and all of that. So
that's crazy.
Those pilots have seen a hell of a lot more than they've probably talked about.
No. He was hardcore, like you could back then. This is in the 90s. I mean, you still couldn't be quite as upfront about it. So if people wanted to know, he would talk about it, and that certainly his players and everything.
And there's a lot of stories from those guys that flew those early fighters, and like the Phantom and others, and some of the stuff that they saw with the early type of, I guess it was like different types of visor and glass that they had, and those guys witnessed this. Who knows? I've never gone.
I just want
to
throw it out there because it's a big subject now, and you guys cover the subject a lot. And I was just thinking about that before I came on. I was like, they should hear that. His name was Monty Daniels. He went by the nickname.
He's like, no, shut up! Don't tell them.
He's like, what are you doing?
Well, he's gone, but he passed away. He's passed away. Punk Daniels, but he was a great guy. Yeah, and whatever he saw convinced him. So
awesome. All right, guys, go to goodbrew.com/guardians. Use that code guardians at checkout, and that's brew spelled BRU. So good GOODBRU.com, and then you can throw /guardians on there, or just use guardian at checkout. So Gabe, appreciate you, brother. We'll see you.
Yeah. Yes, take care. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Before you play
we got a gap. There, I had to fix that.
Before you play that, I think we should bring some context in here. So,
all right.
Now, one of the things is that this birth certificate was released in 2013. Obama's birth certificate, 2013. 2011 is when this was prompted. And I got the video of Donald Trump talking about the birth certificate right after it was released, as well as him and Clinton going back and forth in the debate about this. What else do we got here? I got a small one that kind of gives this is an 18-minute video done by Zach, by the way. Zach Payne. But anyways, go ahead if you want to play this video now, or what's the next step? What do you want to do?
So this video, it's a longer one. I think it's 14 minutes, and we don't have to play it. Well, you kind of want to see it the whole way. We'll just let it play because people understand it, because it's going to kind of set up everybody's frame of mind on what do you mean she drowned because she panicked. This entire video is contrary to that. So just imagine, for those of you that have flown, imagine you're on a small plane and you realize there's an engine, some type of mechanical failure, and the pilot tells you, because it's small and the pilot can turn around and talk to you guys, says, we're going to do a crash landing into the water. And look at the level of calm that these people have. And again, the skill of the pilot is impressive. So we'll let it play through. And then if I'll be looking at you in the studio, Josh, if you want me to pause it or something like that, because you want to address something, we'll do it. So here you guys go. The Loretta Fuddy plane crash.
Oh, you gotta put it on first before you put it. You gotta put it on first.
A
All right,
long
so
ass video.
It is. I'm letting everybody capture it. I mean, here, let me pull this off. Just because I want everybody to see it, and because it's still got a few more minutes. The point here, and then I can get to the frame that's in controversy of are those divers. And I'll scrub straight forward to that. But the whole point here is, does anybody look like they're in panic at all? No. Through the entire thing, you hear ruckus as soon as the plane crashes as people are moving, but that's just the sensitivity of the microphone. Nobody's screaming, nobody's yelling. There's zero panic, man. And they're saying, I think it was they're saying that she had like heart fibrillation from panicking, and that's why she drowned.
So,
That's what
but there's also a problem here.
Go
Is
ahead.
that prior to the crash, everybody's advised on what they need to do. Hey, there's these life vests, seat bottoms are your life preservers. You can float on them. And when everybody gets out, what are they doing? He even says it. Oh no, you gotta put it on first before you pull it. So they're all helping each other. And we know that Loretta didn't die initially after the crash. It wasn't right there when everybody was in the water. That's not where she drowned. It was on that trip back to the land, which means that she had a life preserver on. How do you drown with a life preserver on? Unless it fell off, it was improperly put on, but that's not panic.
I'm gonna bring up this.
Yeah, let's just skip to that one part where it's questionable, where you can potentially see the diver.
Yeah. So when the news reports and shows that this is like the best freeze frame of it. It's the best quality that there is, folks. This is her, and this. Let me just bring it up so you guys can see what we're talking about here. So she's here, and it's this area here that people are saying that this is a diver that they say is grabbing her.
Holy diver!
So here's the thing, man. Just I'll leave it up for a few more moments. But here's again, remember the narrative here is that she has a heart issue, and that's what causes her to drown because of all the panic. Again, you guys saw that, and then we're only about 2/3 of the way through it. There's never panic ever. On top of that, what you don't see in the camera is there's a plane circling above them. So they know they're being monitored. Their location was given. They're not too far out from the mainland where they took off because it was an issue that happened pretty much right away. So they know they're going to get rescued.
Well, so and here's another point is I've taken these planes before between the islands. So these planes fly on the hour between all the islands. If one of them's having engines problems, these are mainland. They're just kind of sometimes operated airplanes, but they're all in communication with the FAA and the airports. Immediately when they had engine problems, they did a mayday, and they said that we're going to go down in the water somewhere between this area and this area, which means that emergency services should have been dispatched. I mean, you have the Coast Guard rampant with that area. Why is there no emergency personnel? Why aren't any of the fishing vessels coming over to help them? Something's very off about all this.
I'm trying to bring up something else to show you too. Let me just get this back up there so I don't lose it. And again, though, they do have a plane that's above them. The point I'm trying to make, and one, of course, I agree with you on that stuff, and especially you being in the Navy, the way the waters are treated. How are you going to have it? And again, I'm not saying that it's impossible to have a heart attack, but if she was dealing with a heart issue, I think it would have happened at the moment they know they're going to crash.
Yeah, or even at impact.
Or at impact. Not after the fact. Not after she has the life preserve on. Not after you look in the sky and you see a plane's coming. So again, for those that missed the beginning of the show, well, why does it even matter? What's the importance of Loretta Fuddy? She's a social service worker from Hawaii that presented the Obama birth certificate. The one that people say that's not real, right? So if there was somebody that knew that this was not real, if there was somebody, again, she's the one that put it forward, so it came from somewhere. Again, this is if you subscribe to the idea or the concept that Obama's birth certificate, the one presented from Hawaii, is not real. She's the integral part of that. She's that piece. And so if you're Obama and you want to make sure that no one learns that information, wouldn't you think that she has to be the one that's removed so that she can never talk?
Right.
And that's the point that's here. And why is this important? Because this sets like everything that came later. If he's the Manchurian Candidate, if you watch the Operation Gladio series we did on the Manchurian Candidate, it was like a 2-3-part series. We talk about the lineage of Obama with his dad, his stepdad, and again, there was no way we'd be able to cover all that in one episode. We'd be here for a couple hours to do that. So I would say I'll drop those links in the comments if you guys want to watch them later. But all that supports this fact that he, in my opinion, this birth certificate was bogus. Now, I want to bring up this. I'm not going to play this video, but I just want to show this freeze frame from the video. This is Joe Pyro. If I said his Pyro, that he was the sheriff out of Arizona. And he's known for being someone who's in official capacity, a law enforcement officer, sheriff, that came out and said, hey, this birth certificate from Hawaii is a forgery. Mm-hmm. Now, before people say, well, he was trying to, no. And if here's the quote from him, we were trying to clear the president. So they didn't look into the birth certificate in order to show that it was fake. They were looking into it in order to show that it was legitimate. And obviously it didn't work out that way. That's why we see the quote. So, and then the scandal that happens with that. And I know that you had mentioned earlier about President Trump making a comment, because he's also made a post on how to, well, I'm assuming you know this, but what does Trump call Obama when he names him on social media? He doesn't call him Barack.
Barack Hussein Obama.
No, he goes Barry.
No, Barry Soetoro. Yeah.
And again, this goes into, whether you think he's from Kenya or whether you think, what's the other location? I think it's Kenya, or I'm trying to remember the other one. The
Well,
one
hold on. You're getting into some other stuff. In Barack Obama's youth, I mean, the speculation is that he grew up in Indonesia. And his mother had a guy friend whose last name was Soetoro, and Hussein Obama took that surname and was known as Barry Soetoro. And he grew up and went to school overseas. And one of those places was Malaysia. And he's obviously from Kenya, right? Now, the question is was he born in the United States of America in Hawaii, like it's claimed, or was he born in Kenya? Lots of claims are stating that he was born in Kenya. That's where his father was from. And it's very plausible that his mother, who was a CIA operative, was in Kenya during that point in time. Even so, his half-brother has came out and verified his Kenyan birth certificate, not only his Kenyan birth certificate, that he was born in Kenya, because he says, I was there. And this kind of brings credence that, Barack Obama was this Manchurian candidate that they rose up, this specific person that they wanted in this position. Now, to kind of reiterate that, is you have Larry Sinclair. If people remember this, when Barack Obama was a senator in Illinois, Larry Sinclair came out and made some incredible accusations against Barack Obama, saying that he used to smoke crack with Barack Hussein Obama and suck his dick afterwards when he was a senator, and that he even put it out there to Michelle Obama. He said, hey, go out and see if he has this black mole right over here. And she goes, I guarantee you it's there. Larry Sinclair died, I believe, of AIDS a few years ago, which is kind of crazy. But then
I think it was last year or maybe the year before.
It might have been. And then there's
I was chatting with him, right?
Larry Sinclair? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then do you know the Man Cow story? So Mancow on his radio show many years ago, when talking, it was like about 2010, 2011, talk about Barack Obama, said that famous actor Henry Lennox, if you guys remember he's from The Blacklist, Matrix Reloaded, Man of Steel. Henry Lennox told Mancow that he coached Obama, that in the 1990s, he was approached by a group of a few different people that he didn't know, but were introduced to him from a very, very close and trusted friend. And these people came up and they said, hey, we want this guy to come and shadow you. Just teach him how to communicate, how to talk, how to articulate, how to speak, how to act. And he agreed to do it because the money was really good. And that guy ended up being Barack Obama. And this was Henry Lennox saying that he trained Obama how to be articulate, how to be, how to act, really. So I love those kind of perspectives, because what we're seeing here is that Obama actually most likely was a Manchurian candidate who is not born in the United States of America, who went to school overseas and was heavily influenced through various different communism, and grew up basically in the intelligence community because of the work his mother did for the U.S. intelligence and the Central Intelligence Agency. But it was more clandestine black project work than anything else. So do you want to bring up you got something, you can bring that up if you want.
Oh, no, I was just looking up the other location, but it was Indonesia, and you guys in the audience were all on top of that.
I didn't do that part. Do you want to bring up the one part of the diverge? I want to see that.
All right, let me get back to that one. Give me 1 second. Let me go big screen with it. All right, here you go. This is the freeze frame right here.
Can't really make out anything of the freeze frame.
That's what I'm saying. This is the part that's right here. So I don't know. Yeah, you guys can see my mouse right here. Again, it's hard. Yeah, you do see the darkness, but it's very hard to make out if that's a diver or not. And again,
I remember much more clearer pictures and videos. I remember watching this back in the day.
There's another one that's out there, but there's a lot of people that have also said that one's manipulated. This one.
So the problem with video manipulation is, this is a lot of the stuff that they give the shit to Ashton Forbes about, right? Is, oh, that video was fake. It was all CGI. In order to do something of that stature at CGI in 2011, 12, 13, and 14, it takes a lot of time, effort, energy, and money. In the context of Ashton Forbes, he makes the great point. Is this event happened and 4 days later, this video is out there. You can't do CGI at this quality in that amount of time with this much detail specific. He's absolutely right with that. And the same thing goes for this video, is that if someone's going to CGI the video that I saw where you can see the kind of the goggles of the diver coming forward, and there's Lorraine Fuddy right there, but it's very brief. It's like 1 or 2 frames. Like, there's no reason to CGI that. From the official video files, even, I mean, it was actually from that broadcast right there. It was from the news agent. But anyways.
Well, let me tell you the other conspiracy to that video clip that you're talking about. So this is the other theory that's out there. If you guys saw the plane, as you know, and granted, the guy's going through the window, and there's another clip. There's a part 1 clip to this as the plane's flying before the mechanical failure, but that's like another 18 minutes or 16 minutes on that one. Now, the thing about that particular clip is when a plane flies, Josh, and it's already in its flight, it's level, correct? Well,
yeah.
This plane, as you're looking at it, again, you're looking through the passenger's window, it's flying, but it's flying like this. There's a cant to it. Now, the theory here is, and this is why people say that everybody was so calm, because the plane wasn't flying. What the hell are you talking about, Alpha? That there was a helicopter, and that the helicopter is holding the frame of the plane. This is why the plane has that cant. And that this, well, that's what I'm saying. This is tied into the video that you're talking about with the goggles. Because this one I looked into, and I didn't bring it up tonight because it's too hard to substantiate it. But I want to give the theory here just real quick, just so people can understand it. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying is, and now there are some things that are pretty interesting in that video. It does show some distortions to the wing, that when you go and you look at the wing when it's upside down, because you can see the aftermath photos, it's not there. So what they believe that is that these were the harnesses that were around the wings that from the helo that's carrying it, and that they're using CGI in the video afterwards because this got leaked, and that's why there you have that distortion. But then when you look at the aftermath photos, it's not there. It's because these, there was strings around it. But here's what they say. So that this gets brought in, because obviously she's already dead and everybody here's actors, that the divers you see there are safety divers for the people that were there, that were part of this kayfabe airplane crash. That's why those divers were there to protect them. That the Loretta Fuddy was already murdered by this point.
So here's my thoughts on all of that. Number one is when you're on these pedal jumpers, these water taxis, air taxis that go between the islands, this one we can tell was actually very, very close to land. And which means that land is heavily populated and there's a lot of fishing. There would be thousands of witnesses that see the helicopter carrying a plane. So I would just be like, that doesn't even seem plausible. I know that a lot of people want to speculate, but my thing is, this comes from 10 years in the military, your years in the military, and understanding and knowing people who are in special operations and knowing people who work clandestine services, knowing people in the intelligence community. The conspiracy theorists give way too much credit to these people. Well, they flew the plane in with a helicopter and latchets, and then they softly put it down, and everybody gets out, and everybody's an actor, and they're videotape. Like, guys, they would fuck that up in a heartbeat. I got the echo now.
Okay, hold on.
That one we just did.
How's that now?
Probably gone. Yeah, it's gone.
Okay. I was trying to fix something, but apparently it brought back the echo because people were complaining about they're saying audio awful.
On your side?
YouTube is saying the audio is fine, so I'm thinking it's a Rumble issue.
They're saying that your sound is cutting, and it must be me. I can refresh and come back in.
Yeah, do that. Jump out and jump back in. So while Josh is doing that, and hopefully, yeah, because I'm not seeing any complaints coming out of YouTube, and everybody's saying for the last 5 minutes, audio is vibrating. What's the audio like right now? Now, folks.
They said it's breaking up worse on your channel than it is on mine.
Huh. Here, let me boot this, remove that from the stage.
Sound is fine now on my side. They said it's just your channel, not mine. I had problems on Rumble on my show. So I guarantee you it's probably Rumble.
Yeah, it's probably wrong because YouTube's saying it's fine. Twitter's saying it's fine. The other platforms are saying it's fine. So this is a Rumble issue. So you guys probably reload the Rumble page and see, because they're saying still choppy.
Now going in and looking at this, one of the things that we can say here is that they did release a birth certificate, and the certificate.
Well, I'm going to jump out while you're in here to see if I can do that. So
okay, cool. Now, one of the things about the birth certificate, they did release it, and a lot of people had questions about it. One of the people that was looking at it, they had questions about it, was this man right here. And let's listen to this.
Today, I'm very proud of myself because I've accomplished something that nobody else has been able to accomplish. I was just informed while on the helicopter that our president has finally released a birth certificate. I'd want to look at it, but I hope it's true so that we can get on to much more important matters, so the press can stop asking me questions. He should have done it a long time ago. Why he didn't do it when the Clintons asked for it, why he didn't do it when everybody else was asking for it, I don't know. But I am really honored, frankly, to have played such a big role in hopefully getting rid of this issue. Now, we have to look at it. We have to see, is it real? Is it proper? What's on it? But I hope it checks out beautifully. I am really proud. I am really honored. Now we can talk about oil. We can talk about gasoline prices. We can talk about China ripping off this country. We can talk about OPEC doing numbers on us like nobody has ever done before. We can get on to issues, and hopefully when I sit down with interviews, people don't start talking about birth certificate like they've been doing.
Okay,
today,
I love
I'm
this
very,
because this is pre-Donald Trump presidency. This is Donald.
Before you break it down, because people are saying the Rumble audio. Just so everybody knows, YouTube audio is fine. So this is not a StreamYard issue. This is a Rumble issue that's going on. So in my chat, I dropped the YouTube channel. For those of you that want to jump over there, if you don't want to, if refreshing the Rumble is not fixing it for you guys, again, I dropped the YouTube link for you guys. As a matter of fact, I should probably pin it to make it easier for you guys to get to. So let me do that. Let me pin there. So that's pinned for those of you guys that just can't deal with it. They're saying that video and audio is bad. So yeah, that's a Rumble issue, folks.
It is Rumble.
That's a bummer, man.
But you know, when we go into this in the breakdown, if people can hear me better now, this was Trump actually getting ready for his campaign. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is notice how he said oil, gas prices, China ripping us off. He talks about OPEC, and all of those are issues of concern that he's actually dealing with right now as president. Now, kind of going into the birth certificate, and we know it came out. You start to look at this thing and you can see absolutely that this fucking thing was fake. Do you have a copy of it?
Yes. Hold on. Let me go find that one now.
Yeah, it's definitely Rumble, guys. If you you can always go to our YouTube channel or any of the other places that we're streaming on. Sorry, Rumble, but Some people are saying Rumble's no problem. It might just be like,
It's probably certain sectors that are working off certain
Yeah.
servers is probably what it is. Such a bummer though.
it is. But I don't like silence on the air. I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
bummer.
talk even if it's scratchy. So going into this idea here is we have Obama's birth certificate, obviously fake. I don't remember. Did Donald Trump ever come out and say that it's fake? It is fake, mostly fake, mostly fake.
Mostly fake. Here you go.
Now you gotta be able to zoom in.
Hold on. zoom
And
in
one
a
of the things
little
that
more.
I noticed about it in this was that it looked clearly like it was modified, a modified birth certificate.
Well, so just so people can understand, is the parts that are circled is the reason they're saying is you have X's that are there, like on this top one up here where it says single, twins, triplets, and you have X's above it in places where there shouldn't be. And then when you go to this long horizontal one, it has a 9, a 9. It's just there's all these characters that are not consistent, as well as things that are missing. And then obviously the question with the signature. But this is the one that Joe and them said,
Yeah, and they showed that Ann Dunham's name on there was a typeface. You can look at the typeface, and it was actually it was not done at in the 60s. It was done more recent. You can tell that by the ink splot and how it all hits it, and they looked into it and they showed absolutely that this thing was fake. Now, going into that, Loretta Fuddy dies. We can just say dies, hypothetically is killed by a mystery diver in a plane crash. How did the plane crash? Got to start asking that. Why didn't they just take out the whole plane? Why did they take out one person? Lots of questions come up with that. But the important part about this birth certificate is this set up Donald Trump's presidency, the run for Donald Trump to become president. He got so much publicity, good or bad, by the fake news media over the birth certificate that it set the stage. It seeded the narrative for him to actually run for president. And, you know, I like this because when you start to look at pre-2016 Trump, I mean, the man, I mean, he was the host of The Apprentice. I mean, so he had one of the number one shows on television. But then on the other side is that he was going on Alex Jones. He was going on all these other shows. He wasn't really talking too much about different types of information other than Barack Obama, the horrible job he's doing in Obama's birth certificate. I think he was even a few different appearances before the 2012 election. Now, one thing that happens in 2012 after Barack Obama gets elected, there's a very important event that happens after the election before his second inauguration. And what that thing is the firing of 198 general officers from the United States military. And this is always something that nobody really talks about, that I've always looked at, is that one moment where the military said, okay, no more. This can't happen again. And people don't know, these were known as constitutional generals. The majority of them were conservative in nature. The majority of them were very much aligned with the constitutionality. They did not want 20-year wars. They were very outspoken about what was going on in Afghanistan, what was going on in Iraq. ISIS was just funded during the same time by, you know, John McCain and various other intelligence figures. If you remember how that operated, Benghazi, they were running, what were they doing? They were running an operation through Benghazi that was heading in from Northern Africa into the Middle East. And it was money and gun running. And this is when the ambassador, Stevens, it's his name, right? Yeah, Stevens, I think. This is when the ambassador Stevens called up Hillary Clinton in the middle of the night and said, hey, we have this scandal that's about the break of this gun running that's happening through Libya that's funding these terrorist organizations. And the intelligence agencies are all over it. And what does Hillary do? Makes a few phone calls. A night later, the embassy is under raid, and he dies and gets killed and murdered. Kind of interesting. That was Benghazi. Then you have Extortion 17. That happens actually 8/6/2013. I think it
No
was.
shit.
Today, it's the anniversary. Extortion 17. When Extortion 17, a lot of people think that was the cover-up of the Bin Laden raid. The problem with that, and a lot of people have come out and talked about this, is that the Red Team, the SEAL Team 6 unit that was on board, was not the unit that was actually on the Bin Laden raid. The question is what were they a part of that potentially caused them to get axed off if that's what happened? My thoughts and theories. You ready for this one? Hold on.
You're gonna put something out there.
I am. My theories is that it was the team that intercepted the Kandahar Giant.
No shit. Well,
So we all
hunch?
speculate. It's a hunch.
Okay.
It's a hunch, but the idea in this, there's stories all about this from 2002, 2008, 2010 that we've captured various different beings, like the Kandahar Giant that they claimed was like 14 feet tall. Killed I think it was a Marine recon unit that came up on it. But they were well prepared the second time they went there. And they've even shipped these things back to the United States for analysis. Now, one of the interesting things, and I forgot who it was, but he was talking about this. I think he was he's the arm wrestler dude from Canada. He was former special forces. He was talking about this, about the Kandahar Giants, that there's a whole village in Afghanistan with people who are 8 to 9 feet tall. Like the warlord is like 8.5 feet tall. Like, hello. But when we start to get into the ideas of the Kandahar Giant, the question is were these teams that were killed in Extortion 17 a part of those operations? And then they got knocked off because
I'm losing you now.
You're losing.
Yeah, you're getting real digital on me right there.
My internet's fine. Everything's fine here.
All right, keep going. You're good there. You're fine right now.
Fine.
It's crazy that this show topic is the one that gets just gnarly, right?
Yeah. Or it potentially could be the Stargates. And the reason I say that is because we always associated Extortion 17 with either Benghazi or with the Bin Laden raid. But there's direct evidence that just says that that's not true. So the question is what were they connected to that would have the intelligence agencies or somebody knock them off? We know during that time that, reverse engineered alien vehicles were being utilized all over the world to steal psychic children. This is a lot of the stories that are coming out as well. So I think that deserves a lot more investigation. I'm going to have to go look into Extortion 17 again. Now, I did a dig on it back in the day when I was doing the Q Patriot News and stuff, but I haven't looked at it in so long. But that was always my intuition, is that this had to do with the Kandahar Giant, or this had to do with Stargates or something of that nature. But going back into it, 198 generals have fired. This is that moment where I believe that 3 general officers in that time frame, around 2013, went to Trump Tower and they met with Donald Trump, and they, in their words, activated him. Are you frozen?
No. I'm just
Yeah.
hoping you don't say names. I'm like, how far
I'm not
is he
saying
going?
any names.
I was like, how far is he going with this? Are we?
No, I don't say names, but this is where they activated him. They activated him to run for president because they needed a populist candidate that they could put out there that was going to do certain things. And Donald Trump obviously won. The whole reasoning behind the 2016, one of the things I talked about tonight on my show was, in 2016, or anytime that they mention the 2016 election, it's always saying that Hillary was going to steal the 2016 election. But there's never any indication of how that got stopped. And I've always talked about that as being the CrowdStrike server that was sitting in Ukraine, and that Putin took that down. People have asked me, how do you know that? Well, I've had little birdies tell me over the years, but I'm almost positive on that. Now, going into that whole idea, why was it important to get Donald Trump in? Well, when Donald Trump came in the power and office in 2016, we obviously know that they tried to stop him at every level and every avenue that they could. But there's a few different things that they did, even with Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State, is they shut down the 1,000 Talents program and the Chinese educational exchange programs. Now, these happened when Barack Obama originally took office in 2008 through a series of executive orders. He started an educational exchange program with China. He as well handed over the U.S. electric grid and other critical infrastructure directly to China during that time frame. Well, Donald Trump began to reverse a lot of that because the infiltration of China into our country, into our systems, was very, very rampant during that time. This is the same time that Eric Swalwell slept with Fang Fang, that Dianne Feinstein had the Chinese limo driver spy as her aide. Now, what did Donald Trump do? He canceled those educational exchange programs, and then the Department of Justice indicted over 32 college professors on tax evasion after they had taken money directly from China. Why is that important? That relates directly back to Hillary Clinton's emails. Hillary Clinton's emails, what was in them? SAP programs, special access programs. At least 30 of those emails were special access programs. 2016, testimony in front of the House Intelligence Committee, in front of Chairman Chavez. The Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Charles McCullough III, testified that these were the most highly guarded secrets of national security to our country. They were classified beyond any level that even him, as the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, could not get read into these programs, but did get summary briefings. By the way, I will also point out that right now, Charles McCullough III is the lawyer. He's now no longer the Inspector General, but I just told you he got a summary briefing of these SAP programs that Hillary Clinton had in her emails, right? He left the intelligence community and he went into the private sector and became a lawyer. Guess who he's the lawyer to? David Grush and Jeremy Corbell.
Get out of here, bro.
Now, why?
David Grush, you guys testified before Congress, non-human biologics.
Now, he is the lawyer for those two, and he was read into SAP programs or had a summary briefing of SAP programs that were on Hillary Clinton's email server. Now, put two and two together. Why do you think that he was chosen as the lawyer for David Grush and Jeremy Corbell? I think that maybe Jeremy Corbell.
Because he's already probably read in.
Because he already held the clearances and has summary briefings on this type of information. And I guarantee you that it's not Charles McCullough coming up to these people or them hiring him. It's Charles McCullough being told, hey, you need to go be these guys' lawyers because we're dealing with some sensitive information here. And this is the context of the information. So that's truly important because now it points to those SAP programs that Hillary Clinton, through the guise of Jake Sullivan, was sending to a Chinese email address. And how do we know it was a Chinese email address? In her metadata on her home server, there was a script that was running every time that she forwarded or replied to an email. She only forwarded and replied 32 times. Every single one of them, SAP programs, emails about SAP programs that she should have never have been on the distribution list in the first place, that Jake Sullivan, who shouldn't have been on the distribution list either, put her on. Now, when those emails got sent, they went to a they went to a Gmail account, and the login IP address was offshore China. Now, that's so important because what happened during that time frame? China advanced their military technology 40 years within less than 10 years. Hypersonics, all of this stuff. So from that, I look at this and I say, okay, well, what was in those emails that Hillary Clinton was forwarding to the Gmail account? It was the professors and the universities that were getting grants to basically reverse engineer and work with the DOE, the DOW, the National Science Foundation, DARPA, and NASA to work on this advanced exotic technology. And so what happens? I began to research this back in 2017. And you find out that every single one of these professors that were indicted by the DOJ, they all had a National Science Foundation grant. They all had a DOW grant. They all had a DARPA grant, a NASA grant, some type of grant. And they all worked on what? Quantum quantum systems, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, space propulsion and energy systems, space weapon systems. Interesting, isn't it? That was my research, and nobody even, like, I say this and people are like, but nothing ever, like, nobody's like, well, wait, hold on. Like, wait, really? Like, that was the reason. So for everybody out there who's like, Q operation. This is the pre-Q military and what they were doing. They wanted to stop the infiltration inside of our government from sharing military secrets with China and from selling out of America. So anytime you're on the Q boards and you look out, they talk about selling out America. This is what they're talking about. So I'm going to go on there. I'm going to search one word. I'm going to bring it up here in a second.
While you're searching for that, it's interesting as we kind of shifted off that topic and all the audio is good again. I'm just saying, man. But it's so funny that YouTube never had an issue. And if there was going to be one, that's where I thought it would be. So the other thing I'll say is Rumble did do an update and StreamYard's done an update. So everybody's doing updates and we just got to push through, folks. But at least the audio is good for everybody again. So that's a good thing.
Anytime you go on the Q board, SAPs, selling of SAPs, classified 1 to 99. What were they doing? How did HRC gain access to the highest classification SAPs, closed system access, and able to transfer them to home remote server? Right there. Boom. How did China locate primary CIA assets within China? You remember when the NOC list got leaked in China?
I do remember that.
Yep.
Straight
How did
out
that
of
happen?
Mission Impossible
HRC's freaking server. SAP programs, people. Look, HRC, SAPs, money, Eye of Ra, left marker. HRC, SAPs. Military intelligence has the same SAPs as NSA and CIA, etc., as designated post 9/11. Now, that's really, really important because a lot of the things that are coming out right now, I think one of the pushes for the disclosure aspect is that China got enough of the information that we were developing that they are now in post-manufacturing processing of this advanced technology. Now, did you notice that the whole UFO conversation started up again right when China started talking about their 6th generation fighter?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I was talking about one earlier where they just acknowledged seeing, was it like 20 some UFOs on the moon? Or we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about the other day. But
Yeah,
that was in
hours.
China, but that was an actual multi-month long investigation by the Ukrainian observatory. But going into the China is all of this declassification and disclosure of UFO information started to ramp up in the Trump administration immediately after China put out their 6th generation fighter. Why? It's because I think it was because of the New Jersey drones. If you go back to the whole idea behind the New Jersey drones, that these were anti-gravitic Chinese drones. People are like, what the hell does that even mean? They were anti-gravity drones that were operating in the United States with absolute impunity, and we could not stop them. I think this is one of the reasons disclosure is coming about, because if China has advanced to the point, of developing anti-gravity drones and they are flying them into the United States of America, then they are at the point of commercial production. And if they hit the ground running with this level of technology, we will be obsolete. This is why you also have the push to the artificial superintelligence. Matthew Leifelsberger. Do you remember the whole story of Matthew Leifelsberger?
Trump Tower guy went boom, and he has the 2 reasons. It's either because of what he was involved with drones, or something that he was involved with on one of the other missions that he did.
That's right. So he put out a manifesto to Sean Ryan prior to him dying. Not the one that was found on his phone, like, I'm so tired of this country and what's happening. No, it had nothing to do with that. So why did he go to Trump Tower? What's your thoughts on that? Why did he drive the Trump Tower?
I'm kind of in line with you on this one. I think he was either trying to drop something off, or he was trying to bring attention to himself so that they would arrest him and then he could talk.
Exactly what it is he was first going to say he was going to go out of the country. Instead, he went to Trump's Tower. He was not trying to kill himself, harm himself, or anything like that. I think his objective was to get out of the vehicle, blow the vehicle up when the whole area was clear, and then be arrested by LVPD, and then tell them his story and get news time so that they could not knock him off. But instead, what happened is they remote detonated his explosives that were in his car by hacking his phone. And we know this because his signal, what is it? Your signal emergency number?
Yep.
Changed just moments before he died. And what does that mean is that somebody accessed his Signal account right before he died. And if they accessed his Signal account, then they had access to his phone. If they had access to his phone, which was his remote detonator, then all they had to do is do it when he was in there. Now, Matthew Leifelsberger talks about how he worked out of Germany for a special access program. And the special access program was dealing with anti-gravitic drones. And he goes on to state that the New Jersey drones were Chinese anti-gravitic technology that we could not stop unless we revealed our hand that we had the same thing. And he goes, we do. And he goes, he goes, they're after me right now because of what I know on this project or for what happened in 2019 on a mission. I think that they were after him for what happened in 2000 or what happened with the anti-gravitic drones. And the reason I think that is because he claims that they tried to abduct him in Colorado Springs when he got off the plane. Now I want you to take this into consideration. General McCaslin, the missing scientist. So he gets off the plane and somebody tries to abduct him. He thinks it's the intelligence agencies. So he goes on this whole ramp of, holy shit, they're going to come after me because of these two things that I know. He draws this manifesto, emails it out, and they have to kill him, not because he's a bad guy, because now he's going to disclose the secret. But it wasn't them that was trying to kidnap him. It was this private, it was this private operation to grab these scientists and grab these people of in knowledge in project. A lot of them aren't dead. They're still very much alive, but they are definitely being held against their will because there's a conglomeration of private industry that wants their hands on this technology, and they are snatching people. And I think that's who was actually going after Matthew Leifelsberger. But he thought it was the intelligence agencies.
Yeah, the audience on Rumble is this. They are hating
still
life.
Bad?
Yeah, they're saying that it's back, folks. It's a Rumble issue. All the other platforms are fine. So again, the links for YouTube are on there. If you want to watch it over there, if you guys can even understand.
We're almost at the show's end anyway. So we can I think we do is we can kind of do a historical review of all of this content over the course of the next few weeks on Overwatch and the Guardian. Because I got a lot more on this.
And I want us to taper into 9/11. That's also coming right around the corner. So and I'm gonna have I have a special guest lined up for us as we approach that, and I'll talk
well,
to
and
you
the
about
September 11th is a Friday, so that means that we're going to do OG show on the 11th.
Yes,
1 week before Guard. All right, you want to get into your Rumble rants?
Yes, I'm just trying to. I was trying to pin it again, but the other one's still showing there. My apologies, folks. It's a bummer because really wanted you guys to have to do this, and you've seen, all the different shows that are out there struggling with it, and it sucks. So thank you guys for bearing with us and trying to make it happen. It is what it is, and hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. $20 coming in from Ron Dog, tipped via the Rumble wallet. Thank you for always doing that, Ron Dog. Solid. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins, watch the water. Maybe Miss Fuddy was only as seaworthy as Obama's chef. Crazy how everybody drowns around the Obamas. And everybody hangs around the Clintons. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. Josh, who taught Big Mike to act like a woman? $5 from the new Prue. Audio issues. I know it's very frustrating if our faces didn't show it. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. Josh sounds like he's underwater. Nice Miss Fuddy impersonation. And then we had some super chats over here, so I'll get these real quick for them. Vegas Dirt Pusher, 100 joules a Sunday. And then let's get to the truth, 2 joules, the Silver Star. And then the Boom Diggity, 1,000 joules. Cheers. And then the last super chat we got over here at Two Feathers 17, 1,000 joules. Cheers. And then I'll give it to you, Josh.
Yeah, again, I can't bring him up on the screen like he does. Test UF6GV sent 10 Jews. We have, again, another 10 joules by that person, by Test. Thank you, Test. Appreciate that. And that is on YouTube. Scrolling down, we have Love, a.k.a. God's Child, 359 sent the Silver Star, 2 Jews. Thank you so much. Love, aka God's Child. We have Iowa Farm Girl in PA sent the UNC alert 440 Jews. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go down a little bit more. Oh,
you really are saying Jews, or is my mind just being racist?
No, I think your mind's being racist, dude. The Boom Diggity 48547 sent the cheers 1,000 joules. Come on, there's got to be more Jews in here. There we go. Teresa Bree, we got sent a gold coin, 10 Jew L's. And scrolling down a little bit more. Oh, that's all the Jews that we got tonight. Appreciate you guys on that. Rotten Dog, $20 Rumble rant on the Rumble wallet. Thank you so much, Rotten Dog. And then RPG 3573, can't keep letting Alpha get the mega money and none for you. $50 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, RPG.
Damn.
And then thanks for all the Jews over there on YouTube, guys. You guys are amazing.
You got one that came in here at the tail end. Let me bring it up on the screen for you guys. 1,000 joules from SG2884. Cheers, SG. And then you had one snuck in right there at the tail end. $2 disclaimer alert. Keith O'Higgins. Josh, the Clintons before the Confucius Institutes were selling our military secrets through Bernard Schwartz and the DOD.
Ooh, send that over to me. I gotta get a reminder of that. Lions Roar 190, $50 Rumble rant. Love you guys. Thank you so much, Lions Roar.
One thing I do want to cover right now, and it will be not so popular, but these tech issues are, I know a lot of you guys are not a big fan of the platform with the red screen and the white triangle in the minute. YouTube. But what I will tell you guys is tonight is a perfect example of have as much as some of you may not want to go over there and you want to maintain the loyalty with Rumble, and understood Rumble was there for us when everybody else purged us. I would advise to go and have a YouTube account ready as a contingency for something like this. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is there's going to be some content that me and Josh are going to be doing over the next few months that's very important. And we need you guys to be able to hear it. So if we have something, whether it's just it's a real technical issue or whether it's sabotage, you know, it's nice to know that if something happens to one of, if you guys are on YouTube, I would tell all you guys on YouTube, go create a Rumble channel, and all you on Rumble, go create a YouTube channel. All the links for me and Josh are down in the description, and just have that available to you. So no matter what happens, you can jump from one to the other and be good. Like tonight, everybody that's watching on YouTube and the other platforms, zero audio issues. And it would have been one of, and for those of you that jumped over to YouTube, I'm glad you had, you got some of the show that was going on. Very disappointing, man. Very disappointing, but it is what it is.
I think it kind of messed with the whole vibe of the show and where we were going with things, but that's okay. There's always tomorrow, guys, and I got to talk to Alpha, but we potentially will be doing a Friday or a Saturday show here, probably a Friday show with another good friend of ours that we're going to be bringing in as a guest. I got to hit up Alpha right after this show and talk about it, but we'll keep you guys updated on that. And don't forget goodbrew.com/guardians. That's goodbru.com/guardians. Use that Guardians code at checkout.
Guardians with an S.
Yes, Guardians with an S.
With an S. All right, folks. Sorry about that. Good night. God bless. Simplify.